I'm gonna get the live up on my phone so I can be able to see the comments.
Okay, cool. It's a good idea. We should be pushing now. And we are live. Just don't forget to mute your phone. We'll be good to
Yeah.
go. All right. Get a couple people in here, and then we will get started. So how's your week been, man? While we wait for a few people to come in.
It's this week wasn't too bad. This week wasn't bad at all. Last week was rough.
Yeah.
Last week it was just busy. Work was busy, everything. So
Yeah.
but this week wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, this week we got a I think I'm about the same, man. Last week was crazy. This past week was definitely better. I was supposed to go out of town, as you know.
Yeah.
And then I ended up not going. So that was actually a bit of a relief, you know. I wasn't trying to go anyway. I was not trying to go. So when they canceled it, I was like, yes.
Hey man, sometimes you just need to sit still a little bit. That's
man.
What you need.
Yeah, I needed that. So, and then we got our first frost, you know. So I was here for that to see how everything reacted to it, and you know, we'll get into that here in a minute. How y'all doing? So we got 6 people watching. Thank you for the 6 people that came in. Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.
I'm gonna wait if y'all don't mind. How's y'all's weekends going for the one that are watching right now? How's your weekends going? Are you looking forward to next week? Big holiday upon us. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some time off.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Right. Some time off, right?
Yes. And the end of the year is always busy for me too at work. Like it's just always a busy time. And it's like a little pause right now. And then like it just picks up from here to the end of the year.
Right.
So I'll just be grinding it out through work from here to the end of the year, which is good that like the grass and yard stuff is slowing down because work is about to jump right now.
Right. Shirley Weems, hey, how you doing? You was watching the lawn video earlier. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Man, I was up late last night. I was just talking to Cam about it. I was up late. I need a new computer. Because this computer
me too
restricts the heck out of me, man. I had to fix that video and I tried to fix it, but the first like minute of that video that I released today, it was off. I couldn't fix it. So, you know, can't get everything perfect. But, you know, no worries. But yeah, so we got Cam here today. And he is from the YouTube channel, the Elevated Lawnscapes. Man, I was struggling to Elevated Lawnscapes. What's up, Mark? Hey, how you doing? What up, gentlemen? I'm at work, can't participate, just checking in, have a good live. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Hopefully,
I appreciate that, Mark.
Next week, Mark.
I was definitely on his channel this morning checking out the series on
the soil series.
Yeah,
that soil series is a beast.
Yeah, I think I watched the first 3 episodes like twice already.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that soil series is very underrated, in my opinion. It gives you a lot of good information on that and breaks it down. So finally caught a live. Hello from California. Yay, Toya Story. I thought you caught a live before that. What's that?
I appreciate the Cali love.
Yeah, Cali love in the building. What time is it over there where you at? Like 11? I think y'all like 5 hours.
3, so it's 4 now, so back 3 hours.
Is it back 3 hours? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's 1 o'clock. He said, hi, I appreciate that. Too kind. Yeah, man. You got a dope series, Mark. You got a dope series. Stay tuned. That's right. Stay tuned. That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna get a couple videos out of you this year.
Yes, sir.
We can help.
Definitely dropping gems the other week. So
yeah.
And then too, like we'll get into it, but like I said, I'm studying right now on turf management. So a lot of the stuff that he gets into, and I just got to the soil section of my studies. So everything that he was saying was just clicking. Like it was
right. It was spot on, right? Yeah, it's cool.
On, so
I like to learn like that too. Like I'll read something, but then I like to interact. You know, I don't know about you guys in the chat right now. How do you learn best? Do you learn best by reading it? Do you learn best by reading it than doing it? Is it a combination of the two? What works best for you when it comes down to reading, learning something new? But I prefer to read it once and then have someone talk to me about it, explain it to me, or explain it while they're doing it, and then it's stuck forever, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm a real hands-on learner. Like I've gotta be able to equate it to what I'm doing in real life.
Okay.
So like I'll read stuff, but I've got to be able to like put it into action and be able to go do it.
Right.
So that's and then like talking it over with people is the other part. Like so I'm a hands-on, I gotta touch, I gotta go do it. Like so the building and the science and the engineering part of that is definitely a part of my background.
Right. That's what's up. What's up, Justin? Justin said, "Do it. He has to do it."
Yep.
Toya, she said, "Practice." Yes, I agree. So, now we got a few people in here. Cameron, tell these people who you are, where you are, where they can find you, and let's jump straight into the first topic. How did you get started? Not so much in YouTube, but how did you get started in lawn care? Let's start with lawn care first. So go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
All right, cool. My name is Cameron Johnson, also known as Cam. So I do have a YouTube channel and my IG, and I'm an entrepreneur also. Elevated Lawnscapes is my business, and it is also my IG and my YouTube. So if you want to find me, Elevated Lawnscapes, that's it. So originally from North Carolina, moved up to the area, but 10 years ago now. It's been 10 years now. So I'm actually in the Maryland area, DMV living for the past 10 years.
Right up the street from me.
Yeah. Bought the house that I'm in currently 4 years ago. It was a foreclosure that had been sitting vacant for like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Wow.
So imagine a house that had been sitting that long. Imagine what the lawn looked like.
Right.
So you take 2 years of it just
trash,
not being cared for like at all, zero. And the backyard has a ton of trees. So leaves and stuff have just been piling up and just sitting back there for like the past 2 years. So it was a battle to get it up and going. But from there, what really got me into the lawn care stuff is it started for me at a young age. So my story, young, when I say young, a very young age. So my dad actually lawns, and he loved his. I mean, he just loved cutting grass. That's what he loved to do. So we were currently at the time, we were on probably an acre and a half of land. And I was so young that we had a riding mower, an old Murray riding mower, probably a 40-inch, maybe.
Do they even make lawn care equipment anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
Murray is an old brand.
Yeah. So I
probably just rebranded to something else.
Yeah, I remember that old Murray. I mean, it was red. I mean, it felt like everything was made out of metal. Like it felt like the seat was made out of metal. So I was so young, like I didn't weigh enough to sit on the seat to keep it engaged on the lawnmower to keep like, so that's how small I was. So my dad actually had a cinder block that we kept right beside the lawnmower. So I had to put the cinder block big enough, struggle to pick it up, but enough for me to be able to pick it up, put it in the seat, and had a little pillow that I sat on, and that's how I kept the mower engaged while I cut the grass.
Wow.
So that's how young it started for me.
That's young.
Yeah, that's young. And then we moved to a new house, and we still had about an acre of land, where my parents currently are.
Okay.
They're down in North Carolina, so it's warm season grass down there. It's mostly centipede. So he's starting to get into it now. Now that I'm doing more of it, like now my pops is also getting into it. But that was always my chore. Like it was my responsibility to keep the grass cut, like while I was living there, like all through high school.
Right.
So it was sometimes I was cutting the yard once a week, twice a week when it was really growing. Centipede in the middle of the summer. I mean, it's just what I had to do. That was my chore. So that was the start of my lawn care stuff.
So like you actually enjoyed it. It was like it was your chore, but you were actually enjoying it at a very young age?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it at an early age.
Weird.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, being the fact that I didn't have to push it. So I had a riding mower that I just got to kind of get out there and drive and just like ride around. I do it more work now than it was back then because I got to push my lawn now.
Right. Yeah, that reminds me of like when I was a child, my dad, I have like this one distinct memory of my dad. I don't know if he told me or asked me or if I asked him to cut the lawn. And I just remember when I was cutting it, my number one instinctive was to drop the mower deck as low as possible to cut it in order for me to not have to cut it again.
Yeah.
You know, like I scalped the heck out of the lawn.
It's a lot of people that do that now. Like my neighbor across the street, I literally just watched them do it. So they just moved in the house maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So he's got his mower now, and that was the first thing he did. I mean, the lawn it looked pretty good from the previous owner. I mean, they took care of it, they maintained it, it's got irrigation, like everything. So the previous owner, I mean, he took care of it. It was a decent lawn. And the guys across the street, I mean, he just moved in, and his first cut was, I mean, it went from green to straight brown.
And it's gonna be brown for the rest of the year.
And that's the thing, like he's now cut up, it's not growing anymore. So
the only green that's gonna come up is weeds. He just cleared his canopy to let them in.
Yeah, his canopy is gone.
That's silly goose. Justin said he just subbed to you, bro. So you got you a new sub in the building. Moriel Tillman, hi, how you doing?
Appreciate it, Justin.
You said I used to sell Scott's products at Home Depot over 16 years ago. Wow, that's cool. Scott's, they've been around for a long time, and there's a reason why. They got good stuff. Moriel Tillman, I sold Green Lawn products. I've never heard of that. So long ago, I'm not even sure if that's the correct name. LOL at Home Depot. Green Lawn. I think I've seen something in there called Green Lawn. Why does that sound vaguely familiar? I don't know. You're getting close enough. What's going on, Jay Williams? How you doing? Say what's up, fellas. What's up to you? I'm not sure if you're a fella, but what's up to you? Hey, Turf. That's what I'm talking about, Moro. So your dad instilled it in you at a very young age. You, unlike most children, actually enjoyed it. And it stayed with you up until the point where you bought your first home here in Maryland 2 years ago.
4 years.
4 years ago on an abandoned lot that was in foreclosure for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Right. So then that transformed from you taking care of your lawn, bringing it to the level it is right now, and a little entrepreneurship along the way. So how are you able to take something from a young age that was a chore that turned into a liking for the chore, then just nestled in you, stayed with you for your whole life until your home, boom, turned into a hobby, and now it's your passion / source of income at some level. Like, how did that happen, and how did you not lose yourself in the midst of? Because a lot of people go after some stuff that they love, and then they lose the foundation of what they started doing, whatever it was for, whether it be like I see it happen all the time with football. I'm sure there's people in the chat right now that can relate. I had a whole bunch of friends who love the game. They love the sport. They love to play football. And somewhere along the way, junior year in high school, it became all about the contract. You know, it became all about the money at the end of the tunnel. And then they forgot what it is they came there for, which is their love and passion for the sport.
Yeah, they lost their why. They lost their why.
They lost their why. So how did you keep your why? How did you keep that why in foresight? How do you still do it today? Which, you know, tell us that story and give the people watching a few tips on, you know, how they can remain to keep their why. Even me.
So for me, like honestly, I didn't even. Well, right now, this is to me, I feel like I'm living somewhat of a portion of my dream come true.
Okay.
So I've always wanted that immaculate lawn. And in my videos, you hear me say that. That's a part of my ending. Right. I always wanted that golf course, that immaculate, like just as lush as possible. Just, I wanted to be the best that it could be. And getting to that, like it really opened me back up when I was able to buy my first home. And that really kind of brought back that previous love for being out in the yard. Because during the time in between that, I was in college, I was living in an apartment. And then even when I moved to Maryland, I was still living in an apartment. So once I got my first home, that kind of reignited that love for being out in the yard. Yeah. And then I'm a country boy. Like, so I love being outside. Like I grew up hunting, fishing, riding four-wheelers, like all of that kind of stuff. So moving to Maryland, like I didn't have access to that anymore. Like I stayed out in the country. So I lost all of that. So getting back out into the lawn allowed me to get back outside. And it felt like it brought a part of my childhood and like a part of me, that country boy living, like back into living in Maryland.
Right.
So that kind of generated that reignited that love for it. And then at that point, it was like, all right, this might be all right. Like I'm doing it for myself. And then I started learning. I started watching more YouTube videos, started reading more information, started getting more in depth into it. And then from there, what really gave me the why to kind of transition a little bit into the entrepreneurship is I was just posting stuff on IG, just of my yard. Like I did a full renovation in my backyard. Shout out to Pete from GCI. I used his renovation guide. Hands down, I mean, I have zero complaints. Still using his seed also for a lot of my clients and my yard. So given that, it was, all right, I'm just posting videos. I'm just posting stuff that I'm doing in my yard. And I get to my homecoming the following year. And people are like, before they even say, what's up, Cam? How you doing? How's everything going? The first thing out of their mouth is, your lawn is amazing. Like that, like, Cam, like, what are you doing in your yard? Like, it is amazing. What about how I'm doing? I ain't seen you in like a year, but the first thing you're gonna say is my lawn looks amazing.
Right.
So that's what I was like, huh. And I had a couple of my close friends, they was like, Cam, like you really have something here. Like you really have something. You might wanna tap into it.
Right.
So that's when it kind of started researching it, and the business kind of came up about it. So this is my first year, small business. I'm not trying to get humongous, but if it leads to that, I mean, I'm open for it. But right now, I'm a small business, and kind of like Justin, a little side hustle for me right now.
Right. Yeah, Justin got his little hustle going too.
Yeah. So it's a little side hustle for me.
That's good, man. That's good. So, I mean, to your point of someone's asking for your IG. Okay, my dad instilled the love of nature, plants, and gardening when I was growing up. Also, he created beautiful lawns. When he got off his job at the rubber factory, he had contracts for approximately 8. That's awesome. Girls Lawn. What's going on, PJ? How you doing?
What's good, PJ? I got you.
Yeah, she said, yo, you are the man, Cam. Hashtag rescue the fescue.
I got
Eco
you.
neighbor, what's going on, brother? I hope that that fee that you had to pay was worth it. Did you taste your guava yet, brother? Can't wait to see your new videos, blades, tips, and all of it. That's what PJ is saying. She said, we need to connect. I need to see his lawn. Oh, you need his YouTube channel. Let me pull it up. I'll pull up his YouTube channel. I'll drop the link in the comments. And then, of course, if you're watching the replay, it's already in the comments of this video. So you elevated, I'm multitasking. Elevated lawn. I should have had this ready. Boom. Let's copy that.
Yeah, and I got more pictures on my IG coming soon too. So yeah, elevated landscapes on IG and YouTube.
You and PG, I'm making lawns green in PG County. How about that? You're not PG.
That good though. PG County. That's where we at.
You in PG County?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You are in PG. Okay. All right. I'm not in PG County, but I'm very familiar with PG County. I grew up in Northwest DC, people, if you didn't know that. I consider myself a country city boy, though. I got the best of both worlds, right? I can appreciate the country, and I know how to move and get around in the city. And now that you've been in Maryland for the past 4 years, you can hold a little claim to that too.
Well, I've actually been here for 10.
Oh, you've been here for 10. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you moved here. You was in an apartment at first, and then you got into your home. That's right. 10 years. I've been here for a minute. You tried and true. Yeah. So now you can dance. You can dance with the best of them. Hey, you know how to run across the street and cross when it's not your way to go, and then you still know how to go in the woods and hunt something down.
Yep, and go home and bring the food home.
Go ahead and bring the food home. Yeah. So your friends saw that you were gifted. You had a knack for something, and they pretty much edged you on to move forward with it. Now I gotta ask, when it came to the social media, IG, YouTube thing, how the spouse feel about it?
Yeah. So right now it's like now I'm on my phone more. Like now I'm in my phone more than what I was before. And now it's getting footage, and like it's a struggle at times. As far as for her, like she's quite supportive. Like she's like, Cam, like go ahead and like she's normally the first. She gets the director's cut. Like so she gets the first cut at looking at it.
Mine too.
And she's like, nah, that ain't it. But like, okay, I like that's kind of smooth. I like how you did that right there.
Right.
Yeah, she definitely gets the first cut. She's definitely supportive right now. She is, because I'm actually using her laptop right now.
Boom.
My laptop's over there in the struggle mode. So
so you need one too.
She's definitely supportive of it.
That's cool. That's good. And it's always nice when the other spouse is supportive of ambitions. I'm in the same boat. I can relate. My wife, she always gets the director's cuts. Matter of fact, you can, if you was mad at my little hiatus, the wife approved of it. So I feel okay for doing the hiatus. Now, I was recording the videos and I was showing her the content. I was not happy with what I was getting. And she agreed. She not that it was bad. She was just like, this feels a little off. Maybe you should just, take a week off. And I was like, all right, yeah, cool. So she's highly supportive. Super. Is that her right there in the description? Is she?
Yep.
She hooking it up, dropping your the IG is at Elevated Lawnscapes. That's right. She is highly supportive. Eco Neighbor said we're going to drop a video soon on that $90 turf pile. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, brother. Man. And proud. That's what I'm talking about. Mine is too. That's great.
Appreciate that, wifey. So
that's great.
Clearly my laptop is working okay now.
You're right. Yeah, it's working okay. So let me ask you this. So you said you don't want to make the business too large. If it grows into that, you're welcome in it. That's fine. So how do you balance it all though? You know, how do you, because you just said, you know, you're on the phone more. How do you like set alerts on your phone to like, okay, time up? Is there a mental thing in your head where you're like, okay, I'm gonna get on here and answer these comments? Like I would this morning, I started answering comments and then I got hungry and I was like, I'm gonna go eat. And then like 5 hours goes by, and then by the time I have time to answer the comments, I need to prep for the next day, or I need to make some phone calls, make sure my soldiers are okay. So like sometimes things just pop up. How do you find the balance? Or are you still finding it like me?
Yeah, I'm still finding it.
Yeah.
And that is like, honestly, I'm a night owl. And I think a benefit for me is I'm a night owl and I function well off a very little amount of sleep. Um, I just don't sleep a lot.
Right.
So for me, is I'll work. This remote working has been amazing for me,
Yes.
hands down. Because normally when I was going into the office, that's 2 hours out of my day just commuting.
Right.
Period. So now I get 2 hours back out of my day.
G. Williams said, I'm looking to start a channel up next year. This information priceless right now. Yes, G. Williams, you should do it. Hey, Miss Craft, how you doing?
Do it.
And Toya Stoya, thank you so much. She gave us $19.99 for a split for new computers. And you just reminded me I owe Mark his money because it's probably cleared by now. So I need to send Mark his money from the live, but that's all you, buddy. But I appreciate you, Toya.
I definitely appreciate that $19.99.
Right. Because I'm gonna use it towards what I end up getting, because I'm gonna get something. And so like the investment on the laptop is just gonna free up so much time. Like last night when I'm struggling with this edit and it took me 5 hours just to export and like 4 different times. It was terrible, you know. So I can save a lot of time when I upgrade. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
So yeah, the thing though, I mean, finding that balance, you've got to be able to balance it. It does, like right now, I feel like I'm in that hustle phase of it.
Okay.
I have the mentality that right now it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a significant amount of hours that I'm going to have to put into it. Right. From the business side and also the YouTube and IG portion of it. So it's building that base, building that foundation. And like, that's really what I'm going to be working on over the winter is establishing that foundation. So this is kind of the start of that. And right now, like I've increased my IG presence. That's going to be a part of my base. And I've also, I've got a lot of stuff that I've recorded that I've just got to edit and I got to get out there. So there will be videos coming out throughout the winter from me. So, and it was just that timing of it that I was recording a lot, but this fall time frame is also the busy time for turf management. Like this is aerating and seeding time.
Right.
So it was aerating and seeding. I had a full renovation, a solo full renovation that I was doing for a client. It was about 7,000. That was about 7,000 square foot that I was doing a solo.
That was some work.
Yeah, a solo full renovation on.
Did you do it all in one day?
No. It was over the course of a weekend though. Okay. It was over the course of a weekend.
Yeah, you could easily knock down over the course of the weekend. I think I did mine. I did the prep work for mine. And my neighbors, that was like 6,000 square feet. I was cooked at the end. Like I slept like a baby. So yeah.
So imagine in that weekend I aerated, and I did aerating and seeding for three yards all in a weekend, solo. Yeah. So 7,000 square foot was the full renovation. I did a 5,000 square foot aerating and seeding for another client. And I did my full yard aerating and seeding for 8,000 square foot, all in a weekend.
There we go. Okay, so we got a good question. Eco, he just popped in. He said,
"What's good, Eco?"
It looks like a lot It looks like a lot of lawn care supplies behind you. What are some of your go-to products? That's cool that we jump right into that. That's a nice little segue. Because I don't think we use any of the same products, do we?
No, I don't
No,
think
we
so.
don't use any of the same products. So tell the people what are your preferred what's your preferred choices for lawn care products and why?
All right, so I'm right now strictly, and over the past 2 years, it's been holding me down. GCF, Green County Fert.
Green County Fur, another one.
So
That's PJ. We already know Mark is a big fan. Yeah.
yep. John Perry and the Green County Fert, I'm supporting them heavy right now for my liquids, like for my liquids. I still do mix in a little granular
Me too.
here and there for some different applications.
Mhm.
So when it comes down to granulars, I'm Carbon X and hybrids.
Okay.
So I'm rocking with them, and I've kind of started expanding out. I started with a lot of the hybrid stuff first year, and then I kind of transitioned into like some more of the Carbon X style for this past year. So yeah, I like the Carbon X is good. Like
Yeah.
I like those and hybrids too.
Right. Right. Now those are more so boutique, I call them like boutique products,
Yeah.
specialty products. They're going to give you more than the average product would out of your big box stores. These granulars, they usually come with homogeneous prills. Is hybrids a homogeneous prill as well? With everything is equally packed in one prill. All your nutrients is evenly distributed.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it. Don't quote me on it, but I don't think it is.
But it's loaded with your big six and your micros and some of those blends as well, right? So
and I think the big thing with those are you get a lot of micros that come along with it.
right.
And I think a lot of your big box stores, you don't get as many of the micros along with it.
Exactly. That's
Like,
the number one. You see a lot of, the big six. You'll see your nitrogen, your potassium, your phosphorus,
yeah.
your sulfur. Yeah, you'll see those things, but you won't see anything beyond that. So
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
that's a big difference. I can tell. So first couple of years I was using that, I took my lawn back over from the lawn care companies that I had taken care of it.
Yeah, good move, smart move.
Yeah, definitely. So once I got rid of them, I was using a lot of big box products, and you will get the reaction, like you will get results, but it's like they plateau.
They do, and it's because of what Mark was talking about. Because you're just throwing down the product and you're not feeding your soil.
Yep.
So when you're not feeding your soil, your lawn is literally relying on these macros you throw at it 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times a year.
Yep.
But
and it's not able to sustain. It's not able to sustain on its own.
It's not sustainable.
It's gotta have it, and you can see like your lawn in waves.
Yeah,
like you'll see it when you
like it's almost hooked on it, like it's a drug for it. Yeah, your lawn becomes reliant on it, and if you skip, I 100% completely agree. Now, one thing that you can go and check out though are your agricultural stores. I'm actually going to be doing a lot more products from my agricultural store, my local agricultural store out here. So, when you go and you look at these products that we use, yes, they're a little bit more expensive on face, but when you do the math on a lot of them, they're actually pretty good deals when you're doing your application rates properly. Now, the influx in price on most of these things, I'd argue probably 100% of them is the shipping. That's it. Like the shipping is why they cost a little bit extra, because it costs to ship this stuff. So don't think that, someone's trying to rip you off or anything like that. The products that you see me recommend to you, they're tried and true. Matter of fact, I don't even mention a product on my channel until I've already been using it for about 2 months. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Right.
I will sit with stuff for a while before I say, go check out this new fancy hotness. That's not how I work. Y'all know that. Because
I agree with you, because I got some stuff that I'm ready to support, but I've had it for a while. I've turned my yard into like a test area lab.
Okay.
So I got a couple different tests going on in my yard with some seed, with some product and stuff that I'm using on it. And I haven't really released it yet or said anything about it because I wanted to see how it was going to perform. Like I wanted to see the results before I go approving and supporting of something.
Exactly.
I've got to be able to stand behind it and see what it's really gonna, if I really truly believe it.
That's right. That's right. Mark just dipped back in. Looks like I missed some good stuff. You did. When we give grass plants free food, key microbial activities get bypassed. Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, you have to do it smartly, responsibly, of course. And Cameron, he's been doing that, you know, and that's why his lawn looks the way it does. I gotta go over there and see it. It might look as good as my side plot. Maybe. I don't know. He ain't even really got the double wides.
Well, if that one, if you don't believe that mine is, I got a client yard that I will put up against just about anybody out there.
Okay, all right. But that's your client yard. That's not yours. So I don't care.
Hey, that's still under my umbrella.
Nah, I don't know what his soil profile looks like. You don't get credit for that. That's God's word. Stop. I just began using the biochems summer, and RGS seems to work pretty good as well. Yeah. So RGS, what is that? That's seaweed and humic, right? That's I think it's got some fulvic in it too. I think it's the equivalent of the soil hume that I was talking about in the video I released today.
Yeah, it is. RGS is good. Like, and the other thing is, like, if you haven't ever applied any humic or any type of humate products or anything, like that is probably one of the best things that you can at least start with. Right. Like if you're not going to do anything else. So I had a client yard that I did aeration and seeding on. But before that, all I did is I went out and they hadn't done any aeration in like years. So I applied an application of Humic 12 from the next line. And I also used a little bit of air and some aerate. So I did an aerate application and a Humic 12 application.
Okay.
And no fert, like no fert, anything. And I went back and this was earlier before the aerating and seeding. And we got some good rain. We got like 2 solid good rains. And you can see a response in the yard.
Yeah.
No fert, no nothing.
Right.
And all I think it did is that it just released some of the micros and the macros that were in the soil that was already there, that was bonded up.
Yeah, that's what it does. Like, it breaks those bonds.
Yeah, it was just able to release that. There was no fert, no nothing. I mean, you could see a response in it. And then it was like, yeah, this is going. That right there, like just that one was a sign to me that was like, if you work on your soil, if you do what you need to do to your soil,
right,
like the lawn itself will take care of itself over time.
Yeah, for sure. We got a good question here. Eco Neighbor, he says, how do you deal with pests, mainly grubs? Now, I haven't dealt with grubs. My first year here, I put down, GrubX came out with this new blend that was not supposed to be harmful to earthworms. So I gave it a try. Now, this was before I had a garden, so I didn't have to worry about that. So I used it and I didn't deal with any grubs. Now, I don't know if I actually had grubs to deal with beforehand. Like, I don't know if there were actual grubs in the lawn. I did it more so as part of a lawn care program. Right. But that's all I can really speak to it. I'd say today, if I was dealing with grubs, I don't know if I would use a chemical. I don't know if I would use one. I'm kind of, I'm on the fence. I probably would. It depends. If it was here, maybe. If where I move, it depends on where my garden is versus where the lawn is and where it's being attacked, I might just let it go.
Yeah.
I may just let it go and reseed the area whenever it's favorable to reseed. What about you, Cam?
So it's funny you say that. So my
What's going
clients
on, Eminem? Hey, how you doing, Mr. In Cakes?
So my clients, John, they previously had issues with grubs. So of course they were concerned about it.
Okay.
So I kind of did some digging around, like as I was doing the full renovation. I didn't find that many grubs. Like even before that, like I was kind of paying attention, looking. I didn't find that many. After aerating and seeding and completing the renovation, I started to see more and more grubs that was like kind of present in the lawn.
In your lawn?
No, in one of my clients' lawns.
Okay.
Like, so it was starting to come up, and I had already seeded. My grass was coming up, like the new germination was happening. I wasn't about to go out there and throw a pesticide down. Like I just wasn't. I wasn't gonna do it. So right now, as far as dealing with pests, I'm letting them ride, and unless it gets like really, and then to listening to Mark last the other week, like he was like, you got to get rid of the kilicides. Like I want to cut back on those inputs.
Right.
So I don't plan to attack the grubs unless it becomes detrimental. Like if it's to the point where like a large section of the lawn is starting to die off,
right,
I may try to do a selective, like try to treatment. But I want to try and cut back on some of those pesticide and herbicide applications myself.
Yeah, and to your point, in different locations make a difference as well. So like I know certain places in Texas, if you're renting, my neighbor across the street, Marcus, y'all know Mr. Marcus, he was telling me at his old residence that they made you do an application for grubs because grubs were just that bad in that area and they would wipe up entire stands of lawn. So he didn't even have a choice. His choice was either hire someone to do it for him twice a year, or he had to go out and make the applications himself twice a year. So I thought that was wild. I was like, wow, they're forcing you to use these chemicals. But I think your best defense against grubs is to get you some free range chicken. Because that's what I'm gonna look into doing when I move. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
I ain't gonna be able to do that one around here, but and again, like if you're dealing with grubs, like it takes a pretty heavy stand or population of grubs to really be able to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah. Has to be, and they probably have to be gone for a while too.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. So as far as pests, I am dealing with a lot of moles.
Moles? You must be related to Lawn Pusher.
Yeah.
That fool, every time I go on his IG, he got a new mole running around, mole hills just all over the place. I would move if I was him. I would not stay at the house. Like that's too many moles.
So I think I've taken out 3 from my client's lawn, like the one I did a full renovation on. And like I have been slowly picking them off.
Right.
And right now,
stay if you got moles, you most likely have grubs and stuff too, right? Like they wouldn't stay if there wasn't anything to eat. So.
Yeah, well, it's also grubs and earthworms. Earthworms is the other thing. Like so, as I was reading, somebody may correct me, but earthworm, from research, earthworms is also a large part of their diet.
Huh. How about that?
So that's like a combination. Like you want the earthworms, but also you got to deal with the moles.
Right. That's terrible. Yeah, moles, I think I would just pack up and leave. I saw Pusher, he took a pipe, taped it to his exhaust of his truck and stuck the pipe in the ground. Every other day he has a new molehill in his yard. And I was like, man, I pray I don't ever have to deal with moles because they look worse than squirrels, man.
Yeah, I've been using the Tomcat, just a little trap from Lowe's.
Okay.
And it's definitely been taking them out. Like it's just, the matter is finding which trails and tunnels are active.
Which one is active?
And then like, so I'll go down and I'll press down like all of them. Like whatever trails that you see, get all of them pressed back down flat. Okay. And monitor it closely. So as soon as you see an active trail coming up,
that's where you know to set your trap.
Go put the trap in between the end of that one and wherever you can see it starting. Like I've gotten down to the point where I'm killing moles and like I killed one in like 15 minutes. Like from the time I set the trap to the time I saw the trail,
right,
gone 15 minutes. Yeah. So I mean, they can be handled.
Moles, voles, and skunks are feasting on those grubs. Yeah. Yep. Moles. Jay Williams. He said no grub chemicals. Yeah. So I think you're talking about. So GrubX came out with a thing that's not supposed to hurt earthworms, and it probably doesn't hurt earthworms, but who knows what else it is actually hurting. So it's just like I used it. I didn't have any. I don't even think I had grubs here, to be honest, because there's too many geese in this area that if I was loaded with grubs, I think they would take care of it for me. Like I got a lot of wildlife around here that just kind of roams around. I think they just take care of themselves. So if that's what you're talking about, Jay Williams, then yeah, I mean, you can give it a shot. I would recommend trying to work with nature. You might not even have a need for it,
Yeah.
Just get you some chickens, man. Like if you don't live in, get you some chickens, man. Get like 3 chickens. They make great pets. You get the right breed, and then just let them take care of it for you. That's free fertilizer. Get you some free eggs. Listen. Especially nowadays, you might just want to have a few chickens on hand. So, just saying, can I grow plants in an area covered with mulch? Yes. What kind of plants?
Yeah.
What kind of plants? Let's get a little more specific there. Eco neighbor, you're right. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and cut. Like I'm gonna try to not use. I've got some grub control stuff over here already. Like I've got it in the back. I've got it literally sitting here, and I've been holding out on applying it.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna be okay without it. Like, so I'm gonna try not to put it down.
Like Ms. Kraft said, or get a tomcat, like a real cat. You get a cat and let it get out there and get to work for you. Great minds think alike. Tomcat works. Yeah. So the trap that you're talking about is just the name of the trap, right? It's not.
Yeah. Back here on the shelf.
Yeah. Well, I think they talking about actually getting a cat. Like get a cat. Let that fool run around.
I don't like cats, and the wife doesn't like cats either. So
you know what? I grew up with cats. He said, "I can hear the HOA now." That's your first mistake. Get outside the HOA. That's the first mistake right there. But look, we matching. You got a Yeti? Yeah, Yeti. Oh, I got tea in mine now. But what was I about to say? I lost it. It wasn't that important.
HOA.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that wasn't it. It was something else. I lost it though. HOA, that was funny. You move away from the HOA. But
so speaking of HOA, I'm pretty sure, like, so of course my lawn went from looking like pretty good in the front. And then I told you I've got like 2 test areas that I'm working with. So I completely killed them off, like just dead, brown. Yeah. So the neighbors and everybody was walking by looking at my yard like, okay, I'm like, what? Like
they about to write you up.
Like what happened? And I know the HOA lady, so she kind of walked by and was like, yeah, so what happened to your lawn? Like
that's how they did me out here. Like, we're gonna need you to put that back. Like, put what back? Yeah, that grass that you took up. No, I can't put that back, sweetheart. I'm sorry.
So I was like, yeah, like so I'm testing some stuff out. Like it'll be back green come the fall. So yeah, they had to look at, like, all my neighbors had to look at my yard looking like that for probably a month and a half.
Yeah, okay. So they was talking about real cats. Real cats do wonders for keeping them rodents out. So like basil and spices, yeah, you can just make sure whatever you're trying to grow, look up your grow zone. Then for your grow zone, after you figure out what your grow zone is, you should, I think y'all are in like 7A or 6B or something like that. You figure out what your grow zone is, then you Google that grow zone calendar, right? And then that way you can figure out when the best time is to plant the basil and spices you're looking at growing. But I would argue, and you can do that, but I would say you can probably just do them in containers. That would be easier, especially if they're just spices. No need to put them in the ground because they're not super strong, heavy feeders, and they'll do fine in containers. So you could get you some 5-gallon containers or even 2-gallon containers and plant away. And I would recommend that because at least you can move them around too. So you can definitely do. Of course, you're going to need to clear that mulch back that's covered up your plants, and then you don't want to overcrowd the mulch in the area that you're doing the actual herbs and stuff. So you can still push that mulch back over once the plants get established, if that's what you choose to do. But you don't want to do the mulch volcano type thing that you see people do. Don't do that. Yeah, do containers. I would do spices and stuff in containers if you can. Now, if you have to put it in the ground, go for it. They'll do just fine in the ground too. LOL, trust me, I tried. Wife wasn't digging the rural life. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you can find like the back door, like out here. If my mindset was where it was, like there's this town that sits right behind the town with all the good stuff. But if you like get right up behind the town on the city limit, not only is it cheaper on the other side of the city limits, but you only got like a 10-minute commute into town. So whenever you can dial it in like that, that's when you really winning. You got that. You got the convenience of locality, plus you got your freedom to just do whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, that's where the next spot's gonna be. Like the next spot is I need some more yard, honestly. Like I want some more yard.
That's a good point, Mario Tillman. You can also do those basils and spices through the hydroponics cracky method that me and Miss Craft are doing. If you guys are interested in learning how to do hydroponics, go check out Miss Craft's Small Space Gardening and More. We're doing a little series. We did the first video like a few days ago, Friday. We did it on Friday. And you could use that method as well. Yeah, thanks, Moriel, for reminding. I smoked off the lawn of a vacant bank-owned property. I used that as my test plot until the house sold at auction. The yard actually looks decent now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What's up? Vacant bank lot, you know, they probably didn't mind when they actually ended up buying it. So
yeah, so yeah, I've got 2 test areas that's going now. So I've got 2 different tall fescues that I'm testing out.
One of them's from Pete, right?
Yeah, one of them is with Pete from GCI. The other one is a Mountain View seed that I'm using, and I'm introducing some Kentucky bluegrass, like also.
Yeah, there you go. Get you some.
I'm jumping onto the Kentucky bluegrass wagon.
My front and my back. So technically there's Kentucky bluegrass in the side plot too, but it's a very small amount. But the front and the back have the most now. I got a lot. It's probably 70% Kentucky bluegrass right now because I've been keeping it so low, and it's nice. I'm not like, I love my fescue, but that Kentucky bluegrass cut at like a sub 3 inches.
Yeah.
It feels good to sit on, man. When I was sitting out there recording the video, I was like, "Ooh, this is nice." Like, it's like a medium soft, where the fescue is like a medium hard.
Yeah,
like, it's a whole nother world, man. I was
so I'm actually learning that world of it. Like, so my backyard is what I call a partial renovation. So what y'all are seeing now, like I've got a full video coming out on it, but like the pictures that you see of my backyard now, probably 70% of that was just seeded like this fall.
Okay.
So all of that is probably 70% is
Brand
new seed, and the other 20 is it was just aerated. But from the main portion of the picture, like that back is GCI, tall fescue from Pete, and it is Blue Bank Kentucky bluegrass.
The one with granite. It's darker. No, I'm joking. That blue bank looked good too.
So what I will say, the reason that I went with the blue bank is because I've got a significant amount of shade in my backyard. I'm gonna say it's more shaded than it is sun.
Okay.
So I wanted something that had a higher shade tolerance.
Gotcha.
And I specifically chose the blue bank because out of everything, it had the higher shade tolerance, like for everything.
That was smart. And people, what he just said was pivotal when you're looking at going off and trying to buy your own seed. That little bit of research, looking up on the in-depth trials to see how that seed blend did, that cultivar of that seed blend did, can save you a lot of heartache and pain down the road. I think it was Eco Neighbor. He was in here asking a couple lives ago on, what kind of grass could he put in this area that he had was super shaded. His grass is canopy. He had a thick canopy and whatnot. And I think we recommended to him a shade mix or a shade variety.
Yeah.
Or you could even go as far as finding something that you already have, just a cultivar that likes to be in the shade. So maybe you can find, because I think he said he had centipede or something like that. So maybe you can find a centipede seed that's tolerant for, I don't know anything about centipede, but
that's tough though.
Centipede don't like shade at all.
Centipede's almost like Bermuda. Like it wants that sun. Like so then
you might have to end up introducing a little cool season seed down there if it's that shaded, and it'll do just fine if it's that shaded.
Fine fescues do well in the shade. Chewing fescues,
red fescue, chewing fescues, those will do just fine. They don't like a lot of traffic until they get established, and then benefit, they don't like to be mowed very often, so you don't have to cut it that much. It grows slow. Hey, Tony and Dolores, how y'all doing? Welcome in the building. What kind of grass? Sorry, Kentucky bluegrass. Have y'all used that cool blue mix? I used is that the cool blue? Yeah, the turf type tall fescue cool blue mix. So if you go back and you look at the name of the video, it's alive, but it was with my neighbor, and it was something about like doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
His yard is GCI turf cool blue mix. Yep. And then Say's yard, which I hope I get over there by the end of the year. I might not, might just have to go over there in the spring, but his yard has that cool blue mix in it, and it looks really good, and it performed really well. So here's the trick. The easy part is actually picking the right seed and getting it to germinate. The hard part for most homeowners is giving that brand new seed, which is equivalent to like a brand new puppy or a brand new baby, your attention for the next 12 to 18 months.
Yep.
You have to be consistent with it. You have to water it consistently. You need to feed it properly. You need to make sure that you're monitoring it properly, because it's in a very fragile state at that point in its life. So, I think that you just remember, it's easy to do an aeration and overseed. The hard part is making sure that it's getting adequate water during the right times, making sure that you're constantly mowing it. Like, those are the things that are really
the cultural practices
that take you to the next level for sure. What kind of grass do you guys recommend for Cali 10B? So that's super warm. Now, I know that sounds like what are you in, like Sacramento? You're all the way at the bottom of Cali, but any warm season grass should do fine for you in the 10B. So like your Bermuda. If I was you, I'm gonna tell you what you should do, Toya. You should get some zoysia. That's what you should do. Some zoysia is bomb, because zoysia is like the best of both worlds. It gives you that nice, thick, fluffy kind of look like the cool season grass Kentucky bluegrass does.
And it'll take the heat.
Right, it can take the heat. It loves that heat. Its green is naturally darker green than most Bermuda and St. Augustine blends. I would in Compton. Okay, yeah, I would look into zoysia. Now it's a little pricey, and it moves slow, but once it gets thickened up and once it gets established in there, that's probably my favorite turf. And you don't have to mow it every other day in the peak of its growing season either, like you have to do Bermuda. So I personally am a huge fan of zoysia just from its characteristics and how my life is set up. You know, so I would recommend looking into zoysia, but any warm season grass would do you just fine out there. Even centipede is a good low maintenance grass for a nice lawn. So as long as you keep up with the mowing.
Yeah, centipede is definitely a good low maintenance. Like, so that's what my pops has got at his place. Like, so his yard is mostly centipede. And so we're on that, like trying to get him up and going like to the next level. But like the whole back and side of that acre and some change is mostly centipede. And I mean, the backyard, like with very little inputs and just like he mows it consistently.
Right. It doesn't like a lot of nitrogen and stuff anyway. That grass, don't like it.
I think he may fertilize it like twice a year.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's all you need to for that centipede. Zoysia, and if you're a gardener, yeah, you are a gardener. Zoysia, once it gets established, I think it's probably the best grass for a gardener because its canopy is so thick, it's naturally going to choke out so many weeds on its own. And like, imagine being able to walk through your garden with these nice fluffy grass underneath your feet and you just walking around doing your thing. Like I'm picturing it. I'm trying to will it into my existence for wherever I get to going next, finally one day, or my forever location one day. But zoysia is going to be a really cool grass for you. I heard cool blue isn't good for shade. I don't know. I'll tell you this. Say has a pretty shady area in his yard, and it didn't perform well in that area. But I don't think really any seed would, unless it was like chewing fescue and stuff like he gets no sunlight at all. So
yeah, it's hard to grow. It's hard to grow anything with less than 6 hours of sunlight.
Yeah,
like
it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, so I mean, it gets tough.
How do you find such amazing people? You know what? We just find each other. That's how that happens.
Yeah.
You throw that energy out there, you get the same energy back. That's the conclusion I've came to. So zoysia is what we have in Memphis. Oh, I'm jealous, man. That's zoysia. I'm telling you. Even like your standard, basic, common zoysia is a beautiful grass. It really is. Keep your blades sharp. That's right. The house I'm in now is being taken over by my neighbor's zoysia. 85% zoysia, 30% fescue. It's crazy. I have no clue on how to treat it. We just let it go and keep the mode. Yeah, I thought you, Jay Willis, aren't you in Maryland? You got zoysia in Maryland? So, I mean,
you can do it in Maryland. The only thing is that it's definitely gonna go dormant very quick, and it's gonna stay dormant.
Year.
It's gonna stay dormant for a while. I mean, if you're okay with that, then you're good. Like you'll be good through the summer.
Yeah, you'll get 3 months of glory, 2 months of just weird looking stuff, and then the rest it'll just be you'll be sleep for the majority of the year. But if you're okay with that, cool. As far as how to get rid of it responsibly, most herbicides that are safe for cool season lawns will be devastating to that zoysia.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to do anything fancy. You probably can just look in your local big box store or look to go see what, like go on domyown.com and type in zoysia and then look at the herbicides it is that you can use to get rid of that zoysia, like what can't tolerate it. And then you can just apply that and maybe knock out 2 birds with 1 stone, especially if there's a weed in your lawn that you're trying to get rid of. So
yeah, that's what Jay.
Careful and just know that that would be a pain. I'm be honest. And it's weird that you must have maybe the sun profile is set up just right, because it's weird that it's even taking over the whole lawn. Like that's why I like Zoysia, man, because it shouldn't even have enough time to dominate the whole daggone lawn like that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Zoysia grows great here in Maryland. You just have to deal with the brown look in the cooler months. Yeah, okay, cool.
That's just what we were talking about. Like
Southern Maryland, I guess. Yeah, Southern Maryland. Yeah, ours is just now starting to go dormant. Should be full brown out by next month. Yep. Here in Ohio, at least my part, it spreads fast. Okay, this neighborhood was built in the 70s. 80% of the homes have Zoysia lawns. That's so weird. Well, you know, the climate has been changing.
Yeah.
The climate has been changing. So that's interesting. I didn't know Maryland homes had Zoysia planted in them. Okay. News to me.
So speaking of lawns going brown, how you looking on color over there?
My lawn looks amazing. I mean, did you see the video this morning? Y'all saw the video. That lawn looks good. That video I recorded that video yesterday. So I recorded it and edited it all in one day, stayed up until like 4 o'clock in the morning trying to finish it up. So lawn looks great. And I'm gonna start doing applications of soil hume probably once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks. I like to do the smaller rates. Like I was saying, when you get that 1 gallon jug, you can do lower rates, and it allows me to just get out on the lawn more often. And instead of hitting it with one big dose, 1 time, 2 times, I like to do small doses because I think the soil just appreciates it better. And of course, I'll be following that up with my worm tea as well to increase that microbial activity. And my thoughts behind that is all of that should keep my soil warmer with microorganisms just getting to work, not necessarily going dormant as well, because they don't die, they just, slow down. But if I can keep introducing in and keeping everything in a copacetic homeostasis type of environment, I can really push it to the limit with increasing that soil and nutrient uptake. So my color's looking good, bro. How about yours?
Hey man, I'm still dark green over here. we still dark green.
Now, did you hit it with any iron or anything on the last day of application?
I did.
I did too. I got some good green. Yeah, you still got some good color going. Of course you do, girl. Did you even get a real frost? Oh yeah, you did get a real frost. That was crazy. You got that frost too. I think we all got that frost because I saw your pictures on Instagram when you took those pictures like literally a couple hours apart. So yeah, you did catch that frost right along with us.
Yeah. So one of the things that so what you're about to start doing for your soil hume, I actually did that for my fertilizers. So I've just been spoon feeding like my lawn instead of doing like a big winterizer or something like to kind of put it to sleep.
Right.
Like I've just been spoon feeding. I've been spoon feeding weekly. I did it last week, right at the end of the fertilizer time before our blackout started. That was my last application, and I actually spoon fed for 5 weeks.
Yeah,
5 weeks. Like after my seeding, so I kind of let everything get up, let it get going, and then probably 3 weeks after that seeding. It was that time for the next feeding. And from then I just spoon fed like every week.
Yeah.
Probably about a little under a quarter pound of N per week. And I just didn't do a big winterizer at the end because Ryan Noor, I was watching one of his videos and he's got another guy that I can't remember who he does the lives with, but he does lives with another guy that's into like the turf management portion of it and does like athletic fields.
Okay.
So they were talking about it. I was like, yeah, there was a lot of research and stuff like earlier on that was like, yeah, we just gonna put down this big huge amount of pound of N or half a pound of N at the end of the season. But it really just kind of sits there. The plant's really not able to uptake all of that N that late in the year.
Right.
So it was like, all right, let's try getting that into the plant earlier on.
Right.
Like, so I started earlier and just spoon fed.
Yeah, that was smart.
Just continue to spoon feed it.
Yeah.
And it's really like it went dark green and it stayed. Like I haven't held like color like this even during the summer. Like it's been holding color and it's darker than any time I've seen it at all this year.
That's what's up. Yes, I was doing a pretty similar feeding trend as well. I don't consider what I was doing was spoon feeding, but every time I fed, it was probably somewhere around a quarter pound of nitrogen. So I like my doses to be smaller for sure. Turf, you're doing that through the winter. The soil hume, yes, until the ground freezes, I'm gonna keep on applying soil hume.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
I'm about to start doing that too. I actually applied humic and RGS.
Right, which is soil.
Ago.
That's the same thing, right? All I do is mulch the grass when cutting, no additives. Lawn seems really green. Is there any downside to what I'm doing? No, actually, Sultan, what you're telling me is that your soil profile has been established. Listen, you shouldn't have to continue to throw that. What you're trying to encourage is the grass to give it what it needs to fix itself.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're trying to set the stage. So maybe one day you only have to do one feeding in the fall, one feeding in the spring, mulch your clippings back in, because that's you returning the organic material and nutrients right back into the lawn. And that's what we call a glide path. What people don't realize is, though, that can take anywhere from 2 to 5 to 10 years to achieve, depending on what you're working with as far as your soil profile when you walk into it. So sometimes we get lucky and we inherit a nice lawn where a Cam lived there before, or a PJ lived there before, or a Rob lived there before, and we took care of it for 5 years. And then you as a homeowner, you come in and then you just start mowing it and your lawn looks good. You don't know why, but it looks good. That's because all the work was done on the front end to put it into that glide path. So sounds like you're in a really good place to be that most people envy. So that's my my 2 cents on that. My fescue lawn is super dark green. That house is currently on the market now, so I just stalk it weekly. What zone are you in, Jay Williams? I need to look more into spoon feeding off-season research. Yeah, spoon feeding it's worth its money. I'm telling you, it's worth its weight. For sure.
Key to that is exactly what Rob said, though, until the ground freezes.
Yeah, until the ground freezes. That's why I gave you a caveat at the end of the video. And I said, caveat, if the ground's frozen, ignore everything I just said, go in the house, make some hot chocolate, start a fire, do something else, because you'd be wasting your money. That's exactly what I said, actually. How about that?
That is.
You'd be wasting your money. Don't do that. I mean, that's using your money.
So I've never, I won't say ever, but all this year, I can say all this year, I haven't bagged a single clipping off of my lawn.
So I bag in the late spring for about 3 weeks. And this is why. Because I'm right here by the water.
Yeah.
It gets super humid.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So I barely get a chance to let my lawn dry out in between mows. So the last thing I want to do is leave more clippings on top of that to encourage that. So I want air to get through there as much as possible.
Yep.
So I steal it from the organic material from it for only about 2 weeks. It's just like, it's the season of just where, when the conditions are right for powdery mildew for my gardeners in the building.
Yep.
That would be where the condition is prime for me to have to deal with some type of fungus in my lawn. So to decrease those odds, I wait until I absolutely have to. I try to wait and let the lawn dry out as much as possible. I will even blow my lawn with the blower to try dry it out if I know I have to get a cut in and more moisture is on the way. And then I bag my clippings. But other than that, that's the only time I'll do it. When I know that the temperatures and the climate, all the abiotic factors are aligned for me to end up with a fungus. So,
and another thing like that I've learned like for my backyard is Hyder cut.
Mm.
So my backyard is definitely more shaded than my front.
So you got to cut it lower.
So, and that's what I wasn't doing earlier in the season.
It was laying on itself, wasn't
it? Yep. And as I saw it, and I was just cutting and cutting, and I mean, it looked, when I say it looked amazing at the taller height of cut, oh man, like I'd put that lawn up against anybody's, like, anybody, even yours. But what I learned is, with it being more shaded and it's fenced in, so that airflow, and it was thick. I mean, it was. I think that might have been a little bit of a downside of like the way that I did my renovation.
Right.
I seeded heavy. Like
yeah. So you was crowded back there too.
And it was crowded. Like crowded, so it just wasn't getting airflow.
Super high, no airflow. No airflow. It was a recipe for disaster. It was bound to get some fungus.
It was a recipe for disaster, and that's why
you had a whole bunch of dieback probably, or did you get after it before all that started happening?
Nope, that's what happened.
Yeah, you had a whole bunch of dieback fungus. It was just too much. It was crowded out. Yep. So I learned that from my backyard. It actually works out because I keep my backyard lower. I always kept my backyard lower. Before I even brought it down in the front, it was always lower for two reasons. I got Yorkies. They only like this tall. So like for me to have a 4-inch grass back there, that's half of their body. I wouldn't be able to see them half the time. You know, like they looking at me. But when I brought it down, I saw, like, I cut it down low out of curiosity, and my dogs went outside and they laid down. They laid down on the turf, and they were just so comfortable. They were rolling around, and I was like, okay, so they love it at this height. This is a good height, so I kept it at that height. So I can dig it. Knowing your little microclimates that you got on your front, back, and other sides of your house, that's definitely going to help you know which cultural practices you need to apply and how you need to adjust them. Because we'll tell you, turf type tall fescue, it's in the name, keep it tall, cut it at 4 inches, but we're not thinking of, well, is this a shady part of the yard? Yep. Is it just the side of the house? Is it the side of the yard that doesn't get a lot of sun? And if it is, then
you may not need to cut it that high.
Might not need, right? It may be bad for it. So
that's a big tip. I think that's a big gem that we just dropped right there. Make sure you're paying attention to your microclimates within your lawn. I mean, because you may not be able to treat all of your lawn the same way as far as height of cut and the things that the inputs that have to go into it.
So we got a good question here. Eco Neighbor, I'll let you take this one first. Eco Neighbor says, what is your view on overseeding?
My view on overseeding. The way that I put it to people, if there is one thing that you can do to improve a lawn from any phase, it is overseeding. That's my take on it. Okay. If you have a lawn that is already thick and established, and you don't need to, like you're happy with where it's at, I don't think overseeding is a must at that point. But if you're still on the level of trying to improve thickness, you're trying to add in more color, or you want to add in new cultivars of different seed that you want to come in, I say overseeding is definitely the way to go. Until you get to the point where you're completely satisfied and happy with what your lawn has, I say overseeding is a must do.
So I'll caveat to that, and I think Cam will agree. I'm going to ask you first, what is your grow zone? And what kind of grass do you have? So the reason why you see us cool season people always talking about overseeding is because the type of grass that we have, specifically turf type tall fescue, the way that it grows as a single plant, it bunches and it shreds over time. Like that plant loses its vigor, it loses its liveliness, and it's healthy and good for us to introduce a newer cultivar into that each year, because over the season, because of drought, because of traffic, because of whatever, it's going to thin itself out a lot, quite a bit. Now, unless you have one of these RPRs or RTFs where they kind of regenerate themselves when it comes to the fescue, there's new blends of fescue coming out that kind of throw out rhizomes. You're going to want to introduce that seed to kind of fill in the spots that may have gotten thick. Now, on the flip side of that, with warm season,
yeah, that's the difference.
You don't really need to overseed. I've seen some of the best out there doing it, and I don't really see them with the warm season lawns doing a whole bunch of overseeding. Now, and if you find yourself where you need to overseed warm season grass, with warm season grass, you should probably just switch the grass type, because warm season grasses, if not all of them, if I'm mistaken, they all spread by rhizomes and stolons. Which rhizomes, those are underground, and then they'll send up a new plant, kind of like strawberries. Well, no, the strawberries do that. Ginger does it. You get what I'm saying. And then stolons, that's what I think strawberries are. Strawberries are more so stolons. They're above ground. So stolons run above ground. So that's usually what does the spreading, and it fills in those gaps for you, which is why you don't necessarily need to overseed when it comes to doing with warm season grass. They'll usually do plugs. They'll plug little patches of those grass, and then the runners from the stolons and the rhizomes to take off. So, and then even with cool season grass, if you got Kentucky bluegrass, you don't really need to overseed unless you're just trying to introduce a new cultivar, or you took a lot of damage because a car came and ran through your road, or ran through your driveway or something like that. And then your perennial ryegrass, it can thin out and die over time. But again, that's a single plant. It's not spreading via stolons and rhizomes like Kentucky bluegrass will spread via rhizomes. So I have to ask you, what type of grass type do you have? What's your zone? But yes, overseeding is generally good, especially when you're talking about fescue specifically, and even cool season lawns, period. All of the cool season lawns can truly benefit from a good, nice overseed, whether it be super light or super heavy, like Cam did. It definitely, it has this,
and that's one of the things. Definitely, my response was definitely in response to cool season lawns.
Yeah.
And warm season, like I really don't like, honestly, overseeding. I'd say go plugs before you even overseed. Like that's, I think
in the South.
Yeah,
for sure. I agree.
Yeah, definitely go. I mean, especially if you've already got an established lawn at some point or some amount. Like I don't even see the need of using seed. I just get some plugs
right from your own lawn.
Yeah.
Go to a good area in your lawn, take some plugs, and just swap it. And a great tool for that is the Pro Plugger. That'd be a perfect tool to knock that out for you.
Yeah. So that's what I'm actually this coming up spring. My dad doesn't know it yet. This might be a new release information to him. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. We're gonna get some plugs, take some plugs from the back and the side, and bring them into the front. And introduce, because that's where the most work needs.
So is that where the most traffic is, or is it just, what is it?
I don't know. I got to get out there and I got to get back in it. And we've got some work to do that I'm gonna be looking at over the winter, and I'm gonna be doing some warm season studying. So we're gonna try and get them right come the spring. But I definitely know we're gonna take some plugs from the back and bring them in the front and get them going.
Right, Muriel Tillman. What is your zone again? I'm trying to find it. You're in Ohio. Yeah, I think if you are like a 6B or higher, what a better grass than fescue would be for you, would be cool. You'd probably like it because it is rewarding fast, as well as a ryegrass.
Right.
I would go with a perennial ryegrass if I were you. It'll establish quick. You can cut it high, you can cut it low. It can take a beating, and it looks beautiful in the fall. And if you don't get too warm, it'll look beautiful all through the summer as well with minimal work. But yeah, fescue could look good in your little spot, but your ryegrass will get established quicker. and it's just going to look better. I promise you, it'll look better, especially if you
Man, that color in ryegrass, man.
Yeah, it's insane. That's what's in the side plot. That's why my side plot looks like it's
that color in that rye.
Crazy.
I want it so bad, but there's no way I could really do it and hold it up. Like I don't think it'd work well here.
Yeah, I'm a little further north. I'm gonna see what happens. Like I discovered there was already ryegrass in my side plot. So when people ask me, they're like, "Yo, why'd you put ryegrass in your side plot?" It's because I discovered there was ryegrass over there this season. So I just started taking care of this lawn. This lawn has only been taken care of for a year, guys. This is what I achieved in a year on this side plot. I had no idea what was out there until I came into full swing of this season. At the end of last season, I threw a little fert over there just to throw some fert over there and some seed. I had some leftover seed from the agricultural store. It was turf type tall fescue and Kentucky bluegrass mixed. What I didn't know, over 60% of the turf out there that was already out there was perennial ryegrass. The other 30% was weeds, right? So when I did the overseed, I had more of a blend of like now a 60% rye, 20% fescue, and the remainder is the Kentucky bluegrass, right? So I had no idea that was that scenario. So, but DIY My Soil team, they came out with a blend specifically for heat. And when they saw my video where I said, I didn't realize I had rye, and they checked out on me and this is what it looks like, they reached out and they was like, hey man, you want to give this blend a try? And I was like, sure. Rather than go out there and try to smoke it all out, kill off all the rye, and then come back and seed it fresh with a clean fescue, I was just like, I'm just going to work with what I got here, and use this rye and Kentucky bluegrass mix, and we'll see how it does this summer. If it checks out, it checked out last year too, so it's no big deal. We see it comes back. It comes back. Microclimates, I'm taking notes that ryegrass will get you every time. Always mix something in with that, or at least the brand I use, Scott's Fall Mix. Okay, cool.
Yeah, those microclimates in the yard, like you've got to pay attention to them. Like,
yes.
You have to, like, I've noticed, like my front and back, I've got to do different cultural practices. Like they're just different. Like I can't treat both of them the exact same. And my front and like my side area of my back is full sun almost all day.
So it's south facing?
Yeah. So it's almost full sun all day long. No trees in the way, nothing. Yeah. And you can even look at, like, even when I did my renovation in the back, that little side corner that got sun all day, like, it just germinated faster, it matured faster, like everything. Like it, hands down, it was like the best section of the entire yard.
Right.
Just from that different microclimate, where the rest of the yard got shaded. It didn't see as much sun. It didn't photosynthesize as much, as quickly, like all of those things. Like, and you just got to pay attention to it. So next year, my backyard will probably be cut at 2 and 2, probably 3, maybe at the tops.
So the 2.5, man.
It's at 2.5 right now.
I got. So in my so my backyard will stay at 2.5 all year next year. But my front, I'm gonna bring my front. I gotta bring the front up.
Yeah.
Because I got too much Kentucky bluegrass in there, and the south facing is gonna be on. Sun is gonna be on it, and it's new.
Yeah.
So I gotta let it come up so it can protect itself a little bit more, shade out the soil.
Shade it out some more.
Right. So I'm gonna have to let it come up. So I'll bring it up to probably about 3. I won't bring it all the way back to 4 like I had it. I was at 4. I was at 4.25.
I was at 4.25.
I was at 4, and it was fine there. It looked really good there. Go look at the videos. It looked really good at 4.25. But now that I have so much more Kentucky bluegrass in there, I can appreciate that short and stout kind of stature look. It looks really good.
It's tight.
It feels good.
It's just really tight.
Yeah, it's real tight. So I'm gonna let it come up just a little bit because I know I need to, and I'm gonna just let it ride out there for the rest of the season.
So my backyard, I seeded with the Blue Bank and the GCI tall fescue. So it's probably, I'll probably say 60-40 maybe.
Okay.
Tall fescue to Kentucky bluegrass.
Right.
And I actually, yeah, if it's not 50-50, it may be between 50-50 and 60-40.
Okay.
And I can tell a complete difference.
Yeah.
So when I did my renovation last year, it was all tall fescue. And I remembered the feel of it.
Yeah.
And now that it's come up and it's established,
yeah,
it feels completely different.
Yeah.
Like it is a tighter, softer, more like a carpet type feel.
Yeah.
Like when it was a little warmer the other day. So I actually walked barefoot in the yard the other day. It feels like a tight carpet.
Yeah.
Like it just, and it's cut at 2.5.
Yeah.
And it just, yeah, I'm a fan of that Kentucky bluegrass at about that 2.5 right now. And wait till it just starts spreading. Like when it starts spreading and thickening up in the spring.
Yes.
It's only getting started right now. It really
I know, and that's what I was so crazy. I was like, look, I didn't think I was going to be able to bring my lawn back to, I'm pretty much at like 95% right now. There's a few little patches that need to fill in, but for me to get so far in the fall, oh my goodness, 2 weeks in the spring.
Yeah. So I've got a patch out in front that is just Kentucky bluegrass, just the Blue Bank.
Right. I remember that patch.
So I can monitor exactly how it's growing. Not to say that the rest of the yard is doing the exact same thing, but it gives you an idea of how the Kentucky bluegrass could be performing mixed in with the rest of the tall fescue. Right. So I've been monitoring that patch. And right now, like over the past 2 to 3 weeks, like it's just taken off.
Right.
It was just at this sprouting pout, like just.
It sits there so long, doesn't it?
Yeah, bro.
I was concerned. I was like, man.
I was too.
I was like, I might have messed up here. I'm gonna have to make this video, tell these people don't ever do this. This was dumb. And
so I had
week later, and it was just took off.
I had two test areas. With just the Kentucky bluegrass in it. The one area, it was taking so long. I was like, you know what? I can't deal with two patches looking like this. Like, like one of these, I went in and threw some more tall fescue in it to get it back up and going. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave this one area so I can really look.
And then you wish you waited, right?
Because
when you saw the cleanness, you was like, oh, I should have just let it be.
And like it's starting to spread, and I left some areas that had holes in it intentionally.
Hey, great.
I just want to see how much is really gonna spread and how thick it's really gonna get. Bro, like over the past 2-3 weeks with the cooler temperatures and the rain, like it's just boom, it's just taking off, and it's just like carpet.
Yep. Jay Williams says, how'd you guys deal with disease this past year? Did either of you notice an uptick in brown patch in your lawns or clients' lawns? You want to take it first? I'll go first then. Okay. So with disease for me this year, my lawn, I did exactly what I was talking about earlier. I watched my cultural practices based off my previous experience the year prior. And I knew that whenever the conditions were ripe for certain diseases, I mitigated those by either not watering or bagging my my clippings or keeping a little lower, a little longer before it got out of that window. And as far as project lawns or clients, I gave them cultural practice to follow, and they did, and they were all right. But just like in the garden, you can do everything right, and you still get disease, especially if it's in your soil, because some of those fungal diseases can last for a few years in the soil until it corrects itself. So don't necessarily think that you're doing something wrong when you did everything right. You might just need to continue to work with it and let it fix itself. And the one thing you might be doing wrong It's throwing a whole bunch of killericides, fixicides, and this and that sides because you're not letting it get back right on its own. Not to say that anything is wrong with these things, but I think when we go to the shelf to grab something to fix it, that's our driven need to get immediate satisfaction and gratification out of something. Whereas, maybe you just kind of let it need to run its course. Kind of like I did with my peas. I recorded 2 videos yesterday, actually, and I edited 1.5 video, and I'll be releasing the other video probably tomorrow, the garden video. And I talk about that with my peas. These peas, man, these peas been kicking my butt. The 2 things that kicked my season this garden cycle has been Granny. Y'all know I lost my peach tree, but that was my fault. My dwarf red Haven peach tree, I killed it. I just did everything wrong, and it happens. But these peas, I'm sick of these peas, man. They're just they're so finicky, and it's not their fault. It's just how I had them set up, and I kind of walk you through that. But sometimes you can do everything right, like Cam did, and then you still struggle. So that's how I dealt with disease, by using cultural practices. That's what I did. And Cam, it seemed like it struck a nerve with you.
Yeah.
What happened, brother? Tell us.
So I definitely had a problem with disease.
Okay.
The lawn, and I would say over the past 4 years that I've been at the house, like it's been the same issue. Like lawn looks amazing until about the 3rd week of July.
Okay.
Every year.
And then
it checks out. It is done.
As soon as the heat comes.
Well, it'll make it through the heat. Like the heat will be it, but it's just like the third, like towards the
3rd
end,
weekend. Okay.
It's like when we start getting a lot of rain mixed with the heat.
Okay.
When we start getting like the night rains, the thunderstorms, and all of that, and it just gets all the atmosphere and everything ready for that fungus. And it always happens at my back because it stays shaded and it doesn't dry out during the day. So that's where I learned.
It's super warm,
and it's hot and it's humid, and and you can see the lawn, and it starts from the bottom up. So this is what I've really been paying attention to this year, is making sure I'm watching my lawn and seeing what's going on. I tell people, get out in your lawn and walk around.
Yes.
Take a walk in the morning. Like grab you a cup of coffee. I know I do it. Grab you a cup of coffee or glass of water and walk through your lawn. Just take a quick little lap around and see what's going on, because it'll give you an indication earlier before you all of a sudden you've got brown patch that's done exploded. At least you can see it earlier, and maybe you can only have to treat a spot, or maybe you can change whatever cultural practices you're doing. Maybe you cut back on your water. Like if maybe you're watering too much, then that gives you that indication earlier. So for me, I had to cut my lawn down lower. Like I was at 4 1/4 and it was super thick, and it was just, and I had my fungicides out. I put my fungicides out and I saw it coming. And I was like,
what kind of fert did you use?
At the time, I had hybrids. I had used hybrids.
What was the analysis on it?
Earlier in it, I think it is a 22, 14, 7. This was like in the spring. This was in the spring. I hadn't applied anything for the summer.
Okay.
I skipped the summer fert.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I applied that in the spring. I skipped my summer fert. I might have just did like a light dose of 1801 or something, but that was it.
So yeah, I knew for my lawn I was super deficient in phosphorus. I switched up to Simple Lawn Solutions blend. I think it's like a 4-18-8 or 3-18-8 or something. It's got a nice kick of phosphorus in it to get me ready for that summer stress, and that did wonders for me. I went with Jay Williams. I went with the LCN bulletproof strategy. I might have overdid it with the size. It ended up coming back in good though. Yeah, the propiconazole. What did he tell you to do? The Disease-X, the propiconazole. Yeah, that stuff is great. But here's the thing: you might not have even needed it. You know what I mean? Like
that's the thing. I didn't have any of those diseases.
Right.
what took me out with research and what I found out was Pythium. Like so none of the diseases, like so azoxystrobin, propiconazole, like and I had
that's going to do nothing for Pythium.
It does nothing for Pythium. So I had all of those out. I put them out like I was supposed to. Every 21 days, I was on it. Boom, 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 and I'm just watching the fungus grow, and I'm watching it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, what is going on? Like I got my lawn cut down lower. Like I stopped watering.
That's
like,
crazy.
Everything, and I'm just watching my lawn literally die, and it was just growing, and it was just.
And that Pythium that sits in your soil. How long is that Pythium sit in your soil for? Up to like 5 years, right?
It's there for a while. So
yeah.
Needless to say, I got my protection back there in the back.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes you need to take it to that level because the soil is sick. The soil is sick. It's sick. Bulletproof and Stress X. Yeah, Stress X. So yeah, I was gonna ask you that because if you had pumped it full of nitrogen in the window where I was like, yeah, that was part of your problem too. I made that mistake my first year. And he's like, nah, I ain't no rookie. I ain't do that. You crazy. So like the bulletproof method, it's cool. So those are preventive things, right? Like the grubs, apply the grub X, apply the fungicides, and all those are preventative, and that's great. But so I say that those are the easy, follow these steps 1 through 6 ways of doing things if you don't want to take the time to really pay attention to your lawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You pay attention to your lawn, and they want to know what your fix is with for the Pythium. But you pay attention to your lawn, you learn your area, your climate, and you can kind of figure out what it is that you need to do specific for your area, because you might not have a grub problem, you might not have a fungus issue and you can adjust that off of some cultural practices. So I'd say the first year, follow whatever guide you're doing, because that's you getting your foundation going. And then after your first year, I challenge you to ask yourself why you're applying some of that stuff if you've never seen it in your yard. Yep. And then maybe take a chance to just see if you are even going to struggle from it, because that could be one less thing that you have to spend money on. If that's your motivation, money, then let that be the case. But I'm encouraging you to kind of just like let the soil fix itself as much as possible. You're just there to foster. You're just there to foster.
So even with when I had my lawn care company that they were dealing with it, like it still died. Like they were doing their fertilizer treatments and everything. They weren't doing any fungicides. Mm-hmm. And I would still get like those same areas in the back would die off. And it was like, what is going on? Like, why does it continue to happen? So over this year, I'm more in tune with my lawn. I'm paying attention to it. I know what has been put down. Mm-hmm. I know my azoxystrobin's down. I know my propiconazole's down. I know I've done all of those things. Why is it continuing to die? Mm-hmm. So at that point, I was like, it's probably not brown patch. It's probably not gray leaf spot.
Not that rhizoctonia.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, what else is there? Like, what other issues could it be for tall fescue? Because my back at the time was full tall fescue, 100%. So that's when I started researching. I started looking, and I was like, that is exactly what my lawn looks like. And that is exactly what the disease looks like. Pythium. So the answer to that is, what do I have for it? This is it.
Methanolzasum? What is that? How you say that?
That is it.
Mefanaxum?
I don't know how you say it.
Mefanaxum? Is that what it says? Let me see it one more time. I think it's mefanaxum. Methanolzam. That X might be a Z. Nozam? I don't know. I've never had to deal with Pythium, but there you go. There's a solution in the work.
Yeah. So what I will say is, by the time I got to it, like it was definitely very far progressed.
You got that from Do My Own, I imagine?
I can't remember where I got it from, actually.
Mefanaxam.
Yeah. I can't remember where I got it from actually.
Okay.
But yeah, I picked that up, and what I can say is it was progressed by the time I figured out that it was Pythium.
Right.
But once I applied it at the curative rate, I did it twice, I could see it stop.
You at least stopped
It at least stopped it. And given a lot of damage had already been done, when I say I probably lost 60% of my lawn in the back,
to wipe you out.
And it happened like this.
Yeah.
Like it was green and it was lush
And then
in a matter of probably 2 weeks. Gone.
That was devastating.
It was devastating. Like I didn't want to, like, you can ask my wife. I was walking around here like a kid that had lost his favorite toy. Like
that's terrible.
I was devastated. And I got a video coming out. Like I recorded all of this footage. I kind of took a hiatus after that. Like
yeah.
I was
hurt. It was crushed.
I was hurt. Like I was legit hurt.
So what we got Jay Williams. So how about applying a curative rate off the top? Just kill it all before you can even see it. Is that too aggressive? I would say yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
go telling me that you don't see any signs of disease, but you're just going to come at it with the curative rate. I mean, it's your lawn, right? I'm sure there's a lawn program that supports that and has proven that it works.
Go preventative.
But for me, why not? Yeah, if anything, why not just get in front of it? I'd much rather you put your preventative out 2 weeks before you come into your prime time of his channel. His link's right there. But I'd much rather you apply a little early when you're expecting the conditions to be prime for that disease than you just come in and drop unnecessary amounts of chem down. You know, it's not necessary. So I would say that's too aggressive.
So my recommendation, and I would even say my plan going into next year. So my plan going into next year is I am definitely going to be using that fungicide as a preventative, because I've had this happen 4 years in a row.
Okay.
So I know now that it's there. Like I have Pythium in my soil, and until I maintain this for a couple of years, that is going to be my go-to, but I'm going to apply it at a preventative rate. Starting probably May, June time frame is probably when I'm going to put my first one down. And
every on the soil temps,
Yep, depending on the soil temps. And then at that point, I'm going to apply that preventative, and I'm going to do it once a month through the summer.
Right.
What I'm debating cutting one of the other fungicides out. Because typically, I mean, you go the bulletproof method, proconazole and azoxystrobin.
Right.
So I am thinking about actually cutting one of those out and then adding in the one that I just had here for the Pythium. And that's going to be my rotation, because as I said, I'm trying to cut back on those inputs. And if I think that my disease and fungus that I normally get is Pythium, I'm not really fighting brown patch or gray leaf spot or anything like that. I'm not just going to be throwing it out there if I really don't have a need to.
Right. And Grace, she says, don't put down a preventive for grubs if you don't see any. That's not really what I'm saying. I support if you move into a new home and you don't necessarily know anything about the lawn, you can't get any good historical background on the lawn. I don't see anything wrong with taking preventive measures. However, after you've been there for a year and you've met your neighbors and maybe made a trip to the extension office and you paid attention for a season to see if you even see any Japanese beetles and things like that, take note of that stuff. And then maybe you don't need to do a grub treatment. And then let's say you skip a year and then you get grubs. Well, how much of their lawn did they actually take? Did you catch it soon? Did you get out there and this is a spot here. Okay, you lost 100 square feet. You lost 100 square feet out of a 5,000 square foot lawn. Okay, then at that point, you need to make a decision. It's like, is it worth undoing or introducing chemical into an area that I might not necessarily need to? Or is it worth me just continuing to work with the soil profile, build it up, and hopefully keep them out of that area? Now, from what I understand, grubs love being in a lawn that stays pretty moist on that top layer, right? So I think a cultural practice of watering deep and infrequent, kind of like fungus gnats. I think of grubs almost like fungus gnats when you're growing stuff indoors. If I allow the top layer of my soil to stay moist enough when I'm starting seeds, that's a perfect environment for fungus gnats to want to just hang out in. So I think of the same thing with like the grubs. So like if I know that that's where grubs like to hang out, because I had grubs this year, they weren't in my lawn, they were in my garden, right? And they got in my garden, and the plants that they were in, those containers, that soil stayed soaking wet. It stayed super moist. And I found them in the containers that stayed, there was containers literally right next to it that weren't affected because their soil, that top layer of that soil, did not stay super moist like the one did. Based off the location I had it, it just stayed moist all the time. It didn't dry out. Like I allowed my other containers, I allowed them to dry out before I water them again. But this one, because of where it stayed, it just stayed moist pretty much year round. And they got grubs in them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you apply that logic to the lawn and other things. It's like, okay, are there things that I can do to try to mitigate it on my own? And then, of course, get some chickens. Get some chickens. Everybody get some chickens.
This is Rob Nuggets. Get some chickens.
Get some chickens. I figured going preventative was the best route, but since it's microscopic, I'm thinking it's there and I just can't see it. Just brewing and waiting to show up when I have guests over. Yeah, so
I rock with Jay Williams. I understand what the
I get it. I get it, brother.
So that's definitely gonna be my method.
Right. If you had it in your yard, for sure.
But I would say that you have to identify what the issue is first. Just don't. I agree with Turf on. Just don't go throwing stuff out there and just go throw it down, and you really don't even know what you may or may not have yet.
Exactly.
And then also go at a preventative rate. Like, so preventative meaning a lower rate than what the curative rate is. So the curative rate is a higher rate than the preventative.
Mm-hmm.
So you're cutting back on those inputs, but you're just giving it enough to be able to prevent whatever fungus or disease you're trying to keep from coming up. I'm in support of doing a preventative if you know that you have it there or you have the potential for it.
Right. Or you're new to the area, you know. Like I'm like when I show up to my new location based on how it's laid out, there will be some things I'm going to do just to do because I don't know anything about the lawn. Right. There's some just precautions I'm going to take. Then after that, while that's buying me time, I'm going to go talk to my local extension office. I'm going to go talk to the local landscaping people and see what kind of issues they have. You know, I'm going to talk to my neighbors. I'm going to find the best looking lawn on the block, go make friends with that dude because that guy, he knows what's going on in the area. He knows the climate for the neighborhood. He knows if we got moles in the neighborhood. I'm going to do a whole bunch of research. And then it's kind of like, and at that point, it's like statistics. It's like, what are my odds having to deal with grubs? Okay, no one's dealt with grubs in this neighborhood for the past 10 years. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I can go without doing a grub preventer, you know, and then, okay, yeah, every year, 10% of the homes out here get wiped out by Pythium. Okay, so I know there's a slight chance of Pythium out here.
And that's what happened. That's what happened in my neighborhood. Like, so it wasn't just me.
Right. Like, and it shouldn't be just you because Pythium, it lives in the soil. That thing, you know, it makes sense for it to be throughout the neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's what everybody else. So everybody else was kind of walking through, and they saw. So to fix that, like I redid like my entire grade, everything on the backyard. Not necessarily because of the Pythium, but the fact that most of the yard was dead anyway. I was like, I need to fix some grade issues.
Right.
So I went on and took that as an opportunity to fix some other stuff.
Right.
And the neighbor saw it. And I was like, what are you doing?
He said, oh, again with the chicken.
Get some chickens.
So I stole that from Pete GCI. He mentioned something about having a good fungicide program. And you know what? Because Pete's in a area that's probably very prone for fungus as well. Like I went out there, and based off how the weather works out there, it gets warm quick, a lot of rain, a lot of moisture. So it may be pivotal for him to have him and his clients on a good fungicide program, because it just runs rampant due to abiotic factors, meaning it has nothing to do with what the owner is doing. It has everything to do with the environment, the wind, the heat, the rain, the moisture. So sometimes, you know, it's necessary. And that's when we talk. That's the difference between being responsible and just doing it because you're just doing it.
Yeah. And I'm all for like having a preventative. Like don't think that I'm saying don't use a preventative, because I definitely am going to be on a preventative program.
Right.
Because I know that it's there, but I think the message that we're saying is make sure you understand what your inputs are and why you're putting down that preventative or why you're putting down that fungicide. Just don't go throwing it out there just because you may have a chance of getting it.
Right. Or you watch some dude on YouTube that told you that's what you need to do.
Yeah. And Pete's program is solid. I will say that, like, because I ran that program the previous year. I ran this whole program. And it's solid. But it did not take care, it did not keep the Pythium away.
Right.
So that's where you've got to pay attention. Like, so I ran Pete's program a previous year and I still lost majority of my lawn. That's because that program is based off of brown patch, gray leaf spot, and it does not cover Pythium. He has a little caption down there that was like, hey, this does not treat Pythium. And I was like, if you have Pythium, you need to apply this. That's another thing, that you just can't take a program from somebody and was like, oh yeah, this is gonna prevent all my issues, I'm good. Nope. Not gonna work. Like, so
good building block now.
I can attest to that. Like, make sure you understand exactly why you're applying what you're applying.
Thanks, PJ. I appreciate you sliding in here. Go give back to it. Hey, what's going on, CG? Heads up, you won my pepper challenge. Get out of here. Shoot me an email with your address of which pepper jelly you want, hot or mild. I think I'm gonna go for the mild. I can't believe I guessed that peppers. So CB had like I don't know how long it's been, but he does these cool things where he'll let you guess what you think his crop's going to be. So he did it for like his tomatoes, and then he did it for the peppers. And then if you get the closest number, you win whatever he's offering. So I don't remember what the winning gift was for the tomatoes, but I remember what it was for the peppers, which is, you know, a nice little jelly. So I'll shoot you an email, CB, right after this. I'm excited. Jay Williams said, will do. Jay Williams, I did that already. I will learn from my mistakes. Right. And PJ, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Good night.
Appreciate that, P.
Good night, young lady. Good night. Good night.
Yeah.
Well, so do we have any last questions in the box? And then I was about to give it to you anyway, Cam. Go ahead, go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say we can take the next question.
Boom, there you go. So shoot some more questions in. You lovely people have spent quite a bit of your time. Yeah, we talked you up in the live yesterday, CV, when we couldn't get your name right for like the first 2 minutes of it, but then we finally figured it out. But we doing our hydroponics series right now, and a few people had questions that was definitely in your realm. So okay, video will be out tomorrow. All right, CV, I'm all over. I can't wait to see it. And I see step 3 on that greenhouse, man. You're doing it. You're looking good, building greenhouses from scratch and whatnot. Any questions for Cameron? Any questions for me? Oh, we didn't hit on one thing, and I want to hit this before we leave. The title of this video, I know you guys are probably looking at it like, what does that have to do with anything? The realest estate of minds. When you go and you check out Cam, and he gives you his little outro, or really as part of his intro, more so than outro. He says this: the realest state of minds. Explain, Cam. Explain.
So this is another part of that becoming of your own and getting back to like your why. So for me, like real estate is like one of the big wealth builders that you can have as a person. Like it's just it's the number one way that you can actually build wealth. And in addition to that, it's another way of building generational wealth. So that realist state of mind, that is being able to get into realizing that the money that you're putting in to your real estate, into your property, into whatever it is, you'll get that money back from a resale value if you decide you want to sell as property value increases. And also being able to have that as a generational wealth building tool.
Yeah.
So that's where that realist state of mind come from. Make sure you're investing in your real estate. Make sure you're investing in your property. It definitely pays you back. It comes back to you. And also, I'm looking into some rentals. I'm trying to step into that industry and get me some rental properties and stuff going. So yeah, I can guarantee you the rental properties will probably have the best lawns on the block.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna make sure that happens.
Yeah.
So it's a shift in mindset. That's what it is, and making sure that you're using that mindset to build for you, your family, and your future.
Right. Yeah, that's a nice double entendre right there. I definitely wanted to make sure people heard what your meaning behind that was. So when they do go check you out and they hear you say that, because I picked it up on the first time I heard it in the video, I was like, I like that. That's dope.
Yeah.
You know, that was dope. Sam S, thank you so much for your donation. He said, good info. Is this a weekly broadcast with you two? No, but I mean, you giving us ideas. Is that what you're saying? You want this? It could be. Now, I am weekly bringing. I'll probably be every week, other week. Probably not this weekend because I'm gonna go live at my brother's house. I'm gonna show y'all what his garden looks like. Oh my goodness,
that'll be dope.
Woo, that garden! And then Malik's gonna come in there and claim he has secret recipes that he's not giving you for a book that he's not written. It'll be a good time. We're gonna have fun. But I look at bringing other creators will be on the channel going through the winter, and Cam will be coming back. He actually probably be coming back along with PJ. Since we're all in the DMV area, we might just do a trio one day. It'll be fun. Jay Williams says electric or gas. I'd say, if you have less than 6,000 square feet, you can definitely get away with electric. PJ, Girls Lawn, she does electric. She has an Ego mower. I see a lot of people saying a lot of good things about his channel. Link is right here. I see a lot of good things out of the Toro 60 volt series. As you know, I just got the string trimmer, and the string trimmer is is powerful, man. Let me tell you, it took some getting used to coming from the Ryobi to that. The first time I went and I used it, I like scalped the heck out of my daggone thing because it was just spinning so fast and so hard, and then the head spins counterclockwise too. So with the head spinning counterclockwise, I had to get used to that as well. I tell you, the easiest fix is just flip the whole thing upside down, and then it fixes your problem. Right. That's what I figured out. So boom, there you go there. So electric or gas, I'd say under 6,000 square feet. You could definitely do electric. The Ego looks like it's been a pretty reputable mower, and then the Toro 60 volt mower as well that they just came out looks like a good one. His channel name is Elevated Lawnscapes. I just dropped the link in there, and if you're watching the replay, it's in the description of this video by now. Curb appeal is good for the soul. Me, okay. Is that your channel? Is that a channel? Is that your slogan thing that you say, Jay Williams? I need more info on that. What's more? I need a context behind that statement. As Miss Craft Small Space and Gardening, well, thank you. I'm working on a new cracky video this week. Sweet, CB. Tiffany, what's up, girl? How you doing? We gotta get Tiffany on here by the end of this. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Let me show that for you. And then, of course, at IG, his IG is at Elevated Lawnscapes. But we gotta get Tiffany on here before I'm going to piggyback off y'all. I'll need some subs when I get started. Okay, yeah. Email us, man. Let us know when you come on board. If you were thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I say do it. Do it.
That was the exact same thing my homie said. They was like, yo, Cam, like, you just do it. Like,
just do it. You don't know what's gonna happen.
That's it.
Just give it a shot. See what happens. You know, if no one likes you, oh well, at least you did it.
One of my boys has got my boy Brenton. He's actually got a clothing line called Doers Clothing. And that was one of his slogans is just do it. I mean, it's close to, I mean, all you got to do is do it, like, and do the work, put in the work. And that's one of his other slogans. So yeah, I mean, right now it's time to go do some stuff. Like we've been sitting here, like all those ideas that you've got more time on your hands now with the pandemic, and you've been in the house a lot more. Yo, just those ideas that you got in your head, just go do it. Like, I mean, go get it out there. Step out.
Yeah,
have some faith.
That's dope. Thank you, Miss Lawn Skates, for sharing the IG name. Yep, like and subscribe to Cam's channel. That's right, like and subscribe. And Tiffany, we gotta get you on here, girl. You gotta tell people what you're doing out there in Texas. Jay Williams, I'm going to piggyback off y'all. And then he said he just made that up. That was slick though. You made it up on the fly. That's what I'm talking about. See, you already ready. You got
I already got it.
You already got it. You know, do it, Jay Williams. Boom. See, everybody say, do it, Jay Williams. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So from a video standpoint, like, what are you, do you feel like over the winter you're gonna have any videos, or you get any new equipment besides both of our computers? You need to
yeah, I gotta get a computer. I might be getting a camera. I'm going back and forth on that, but I'm definitely getting a computer first, because if I don't get a computer, if I do get a better camera, I'm still going to be in the same boat. So I got to get a new computer first. So I'm getting a new computer. I'll be doing content throughout the entire season. It's just going to be different. You know, a lot more indoor stuff. We're moving indoors with the hydroponics with Miss Craft. We're doing things like that, where I bring people on like you that I find, and I want to introduce you to my audience so they can meet another cool content creator and a like-minded individual. I did a lot of weird, quirky things throughout the winter. Probably improv. I might, like, if people want me to hydro dip my Toro weed whacker, I'm a hydro dip the Toro weed whacker. So sometimes I'll just see something, get inspired, and record a video. Other than doing these lives and a few more videos, like I'm gonna show you how to store your dahlias properly. I'm gonna show you how to trim up your holly bushes again, because I got some new ways of doing that. And there's really not much else to show you with the lawn. Like, you know, the lawn only goes so far. So I'll be doing things like this just to keep you guys entertained and give myself something to do. And then come January, February, we'll roll into more gardening stuff and prepping. And then I think I'm gonna do like this small little beginner 101 series for people that are interested in taking care of their lawns as well. So I'll start January, February up like that, and it should go pretty well. My grass type, Memorial Timber, I have, so on the side plot that you see when I'm over there with the double wide stripes, that is a perennial ryegrass, turf type tall fescue, and Kentucky bluegrass. All three of them in there. It's probably 65%, 70% perennial rye now. 20% of that is fescue, and probably the other 10% is Kentucky bluegrass. In the back and the front, I'm sitting at probably a 60-40 blend of Kentucky bluegrass and turf type tall fescue. 60% being Kentucky bluegrass, 40% being turf type tall fescue after I overseeded this previous season. But Cam, what you got coming up this winter? You gonna start a garden with me next year, right?
Yeah, so I gotta get something. I gotta get something going. Like we're gonna grow something. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to come through for that.
Yeah, we're gonna come and slap. So the type of garden beds that I'm looking at doing with you and PJ is the same type I did with my little brother.
Right.
It's called a no-dig garden. It's super easy to set up.
Yeah.
Super cheap. And it kind of lets you get your feet wet to see if you're going to catch that garden bug.
Yeah.
So,
we gotta grow something this year.
Yeah, we gotta get you situated. So we doing that for sure. We know we're doing that. Come late fall, late winter, early spring. What else do you have planned for your winter? I know you said you have videos that you working on editing and getting it together. What does that look like for you? What does the next 2 to 3 months look like?
Yeah, so I've got some content that I'll definitely be dropping that came from this past summer and like through the early fall portion, aerating and overseeding and that type of content. And I'll get a little transparent on what people haven't seen, but they just heard me talk about. Okay. So the Pythium, with the Pythium wipeout, I'll release some footage and everything on that, which has shaped my mindset on a lot of the fungicides and stuff, and like putting down preventatives. Just know what you're attacking before you do it.
Right.
So I'll have that content coming out. Hopefully we'll do some more of these lives. Like I'm down for that. And the other thing is I'm gonna be learning. Like take this time in the off season while you don't have to be out in the yard every week to learn. Like now is the time to learn.
Do your research.
So I'm actually taking a turf management certification. So I'll be completing that over the winter. Get a good certification to go along with it.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna be learning a lot. I'm gonna be implementing a plan. Like so, come early spring, like I already have my plan laid out of what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna manage it. And that's what I recommend everybody do. Like, if you haven't done a soil test, send off a soil test. Figure out what you need to do for next spring. Like, send that soil test off and start putting your plan together. That's what the off season's for.
Yeah, we're going to bring you back, and we're definitely going to talk to see what your plan looks like. And I'd like to compare my plan with yours, especially as soon as I figure out when and where I'm going to next. That's going to have a huge driving factor of my plan. So Tiffany White said, I'm drinking here in Texas, LOL. But yeah, if you want to talk about it, just don't call it an intervention. All right, Tim, we won't call it intervention. Sam S, do you sharpen your own lawnmower blade? I do not, but I will be. I'm waiting for some guy somewhere to make this video to teach me how to. Oh yeah, he's here. That's right, Cam. Cam sharpens his own blades. He has this really cool all-American sharpener. I want to see how that works, but I just want him to talk more about the actual process, which is what I'm looking for. So I'll be learning that. I picked me up a budget angle grinder from what are they called? Harbor Freight. I got that on sale for the low. Got me a flap disc with it as well. So that's one thing I want to remove the middleman out, because I didn't have a pleasant experience the last time I went and swapped my blades out. So yeah, my lawn is south facing also. Yeah, those south facing lawns, they get a lot of sun for sure. The north side stays cooler. Get you a few straw bales and get you growing. Yeah, CB, he does this really cool, I think he uses 30, 30, 30 or something. He takes a straw bale, drops, I can't remember the analysis of
Jesus.
It's like it's potent in whatever blend he's using, but he drops a determined amount in there. I can't remember the name of the video right now, but he puts it in there, and then he'll grow straight out of the straw bale. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
With no soul, like just
cool at all. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Dang. Yeah. Memorial Tillman, yes, CB's greenhouse and garden. I've got to get work. I'm concentrating on my edible garden right now, and that's good stuff. Jay Williams, good stuff. When he making that sharpening video? I know. When he making that sharpening video, yeah, putting him on the spot. I got plans to try growing sweet potatoes and straw bales next season. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. When we get in the video, Cam? When the video coming, man?
All right, I'm gonna have to pull another set of blades out so I can sharpen them. I already got you and PJ. Now I got
right. Now I got your neck. We're on your neck right now. Where our video at? So Mr. Cam will be giving us a video here in the near future on how to sharpen our blades. He'll be walking us through step 1, 2, 3, A to Z. He's gonna have us get you ready to go. So next season, I don't have to have any weird experiences trying to get my blade sharpened anymore.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like
I know how to do. I know the concept of doing it. I just want to watch somebody else do it a couple times and then try it on the blade, mess it up, and then get it right on the next one.
Yeah, like I never really took my blades anywhere to get them sharpened. Like I've always, even before I got the All-American sharpener.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. So that means you could show us other way, because I imagine you probably got a much simpler kit if someone doesn't have the All-American.
Yeah, and I'll just have to figure out that setup, dig that setup back out, and I mean, you can really get real simple with doing it.
Yeah,
it is anything, taking any material off and just cleaning it up and cleaning the blade up is better than doing nothing.
Right. Sweet. Okay, cool. Well, that's it. That's all I got, people. We have kept you here for an enjoyable 2 hours. Cam, let these people know where they can see you, find you once more. Again, please, Mrs. Lawnscapes, Mrs. Elevated Lawnscapes, share his info again in the chat, please. I was trying to think of a cool name for her. I couldn't come up with something. So I just went back to what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you can find me on IG. I'm pretty active, like on IG. You can catch me there, Elevated Lawnscapes. So there you'll get more of the day-to-day type stuff, or like just some pictures of like just the lawn. And on YouTube, Elevated Lawnscapes. Also on YouTube is my channel. There I will get more in depth in the videos and stuff about what I'm doing, and like dropping just some information for everybody. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for checking in and hanging out with us. We didn't have any new. I dropped this link again. Like I said, if you're watching the replay, it's already in the description of this video. Both to his IG and YouTube be in the description of this video. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Teach us the way. I take mine to a shop. Yeah, Jay Williams. He's about to teach us.
I got you.
And great interview. Thanks, Ms. Craft. I appreciate it. Thank you for spending this time with me, Cam. And thank you for everyone that's checked in. And we'll be back, guys. We'll be back. And I know that you guys, it seems like you enjoyed it. One person even wants us to do it weekly. Grace just subbed to you. That's what I'm talking about.
I appreciate that.
Check out his content. I like it. It's a dope vibe. He's got good music too. Y'all know I like my music.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Rob. I appreciate everybody for joining. I appreciate all the subs. Like I said, I'm just here for the community, and yeah, I mean it's a good vibe.
Yeah, have a great, safe weekend, everyone. Like CV said, wash your hands.
For sure.
Mask up. Peace. We love you.